Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Abhineet Shukla and with me is Anita Anand, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. New Delhi reiterates strong protest with Pakistan on holding elections in Indian territory under Pakistan's illegal occupation. India closely monitoring developments in Afghanistan, says External Affairs Ministry. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken begins visit to Kuwait. Quad partners India and the US engaged to supply vaccines to countries in the Indo-Pacific region from early 2022. Prime Minister Narendra Modi asserts country's commitment to ensure safe habitats for tigers on the occasion of International Tiger Day. In Tokyo Olympic, India's men's hockey team, shuttler PV Sindhu and boxer Satish Kumar storm into quarterfinals of their respective events. Boxer Mary Kom bows out. And in cricket, Sri Lanka chases a target of 82 runs in the third and final T20 International against India in Colombo. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is underway, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also to help others get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. India has once again called upon Pakistan to vacate all Indian areas under its illegal occupation. Briefing the media on Thursday, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said that India had lodged a strong protest with the Pakistan authorities on the recent elections in Indian territory under the illegal occupation of Pakistan.
The so-called elections in Indian territory under the illegal occupation of Pakistan are nothing but an attempt by Pakistan to camouflage its illegal occupation and the material changes undertaken by it in these territories. India has lodged a strong protest with the Pakistani authorities on this cosmetic exercise, which has been protested and rejected by the local people. Such an exercise can neither hide the illegal occupation by Pakistan nor the grave human rights violations, exploitation and denial of freedom to the people in these occupied territories. Pakistan has no locus standi on these Indian territories.
On a joint press release issued after a meeting of foreign ministers of China and Pakistan mentioning Jammu and Kashmir, Mr. Bagchi said India categorically rejects any reference to Jammu and Kashmir in such a joint statement.
The Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and the Union Territory of Ladakh have been and will remain integral and inalienable parts of India. The joint press release has also made a reference to the so-called China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. We have consistently conveyed to China and Pakistan that the so-called CPEC is in India's territory that has been illegally occupied by Pakistan, and that we resolutely oppose any attempts by other countries to change the status quo in areas illegally occupied by Pakistan, as also to Pakistan bringing up any material change in Indian territories under its illegal occupation. We call upon parties concerned to cease such actions.
Meanwhile, China on Wednesday termed the shooting incident in Pakistan's Karachi city, in which a Chinese national was injured, as an isolated case. Prasar Bharati special correspondent in Beijing reports that the shooting incident comes days after an explosion on a bus carrying Chinese engineers in Dasu area of Upper Kohistan district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province killed 9 Chinese and injured 27 others. Responding to a question on this, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian told a media briefing that China is following this matter closely and the relevant case is under investigation. He downplayed the incident and termed it as an isolated case. The two sides in a joint press release issued at the conclusion of the third session of the Pakistan-China Foreign Ministers Strategic Dialogue held in Chengdu agreed that the incident was a terrorist attack. The Dasu bus blast had accentuated Beijing's concerns as thousands of Chinese personnel worked in installations and projects being built under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor CPEC, massively funded by China.
On Afghanistan, the External Affairs Ministry said that India is closely monitoring developments in the country. Spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said India and the world wishes to see a democratic and stable Afghanistan.
India and the world wishes to see an independent, sovereign, democratic and stable Afghanistan, which is at peace with itself and its neighbors. Unilateral imposition of will by any party will not be democratic, cannot lead to stability and cannot provide legitimacy. Gains over the last 2 decades should be preserved.
On the Chabahar port, Mr. Bagchi said that India has taken practical steps since 2016 to operationalize the Chabahar port and its efficacy is now clearly proven.
India had taken practical steps since 2016 to operationalize the Chabahar port and that its efficacy is now clearly proven. India has proposed to include the port in the framework of the International North-South Transport Corridor, the INSTC, and has welcomed the formation of the India, Uzbekistan, Iran, Afghanistan Quadrilateral Working Group on the joint use of Chabahar port. Since December 2018, Chabahar port has handled 134 vessels, 14,258 TEUs of containers, and more than 2.08 million tons of bulk and general cargo.
Meanwhile, China urged Taliban to cut its ties with the East Turkestan Islamic movement, which is blamed by Beijing for terror activities and fueling separatism in its Xinjiang region. Chinese State Councillor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi said this on Wednesday during talks with a 9-member delegation led by the Taliban's chief negotiator and co-founder Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar in the northern city of Tianjin, around 120 kilometers from capital Beijing. This is the first time that a senior Taliban leader has visited China since the group launched an offensive to capture territories across Afghanistan in the aftermath of the rapid withdrawal of US and NATO forces. The Afghan Foreign Ministry in a statement on Wednesday said that the Chinese government expressed its deep concerns over the recent Taliban attacks and called on the Taliban to embrace a political solution and sever ties with regional and international terrorists.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi said the National Education Policy NEP 2020 will give wings to the million dreams of our youth. Addressing the education community of the country on the first anniversary of National Education Policy NEP 2020, Mr. Modi said the policy will play a key role in India's golden future as the nation is on the verge of entering 75 years of independence. He launched multiple key initiatives in the education sector on the occasion. In today's Hotspot section, we bring you a discussion on the new education policy and the opening of new avenues. In conversation are Anil Sahasrabuddhe, Chairman AICTE, and Ashwini Srivastav, journalist.
Sir, I would like to know, this NEP, it is said to be the first education policy of the 21st century and it replaces the 34-year-old National Policy on Education of 1986. Why this National Education Policy was needed? What was the genesis for bringing out this policy, sir?
Say 1986 policy, now it is more than 34 years. Naturally, right. There are a lot of which have changed. In fact, it is the late 90s when internet became so commonplace. Today, everyone uses it through mobile or through laptop or whatever devices. So it has reached nooks and corners. So education has to be seen in perspective, in terms of digitalization that has happened, in terms of new technologies which have emerged, and therefore how we get adjusted and create future citizens. Dr. Kalam also used to say that we should fly high, your dream should be very high. And now every individual is dreaming high. And therefore the policy of 86 cannot be the same one which can continue for years together. So there was a need. And many new things which have come in are in terms of multidisciplinarity, academic bank of credits, multiple exit, multiple entry. Also learning in our own mother tongue, even higher education. We have Indian knowledge systems. The great heritage of India has to be understood and made use of in the current times. be it for COVID or for anything else. And so these are very, very important things, including skilling of people. And now they are becoming more employable. This was the necessity, and therefore the 21st century's policy has come in, which will now remain probably for the next 30 years, 3 decades or so. So all the elements of whatever are autonomy in terms of different types of structures that are necessary, have all been embedded into this particular policy.
Sir, during today's event, the PM also launched multiple initiatives in the education sector, including Academic Bank of Credit that will provide multiple entry and exit options for students in the higher education. Besides, first-year engineering programs in regional languages and guidelines for internationalization of the higher education. How do you see these initiatives, sir? How will these be beneficial?
These are all very empowering initiatives. Number one, when we talk about Academic Bank of Credits, a student joining a particular program, whatever he does in that institution and what courses he completes, and even if he does not complete the entire course, the whole program, even some part of it, those things have to be credited into the account of the student. It is like bank account, we put money and then we draw whenever we require. Exactly in the similar lines. A student may join a particular institution, do some credits, earn those, put them into his credit account, and then subsequently may be not able to complete. So can you do the evaluation of that and get something out of that, either a certificate or a diploma, if not in full-fledged degree? Or can he take these credits to another institution, make a few more additions to that, and then finally earn a degree? So these kind of flexibilities in terms of multiple entry, multiple exit, multidisciplinarity, and academic bank of credits is very, very fundamental. Okay. And learning the higher education in mother tongue. For arts, commerce might have been much easier. For science education, for engineering, for medicine, this policy talks about allowing students from very, very remote areas, rural areas, tribal areas, those who do not have access to English medium should also get access to higher education, engineering education.
And sir, this internationalization of higher education, how this policy will help in achieving that?
No, this policy will help because we have another national MOOC portal called SWAYAM. Okay. So on this SWAYAM platform, there are thousands of courses and many foreign students are taking it. Nearly 100 odd countries are using our SWAYAM portal for their education. So instead of our students going abroad and spending huge amount of money, if some of the foreign students come to our country because of our good quality of education is one aspect. Second aspect is some of the best universities of the world may set up their campuses in India and students may not be required to spend money. Tuition fee they will have to spend anyway. But as far as living expenditure is concerned, which is so expensive abroad, if they are staying in India in the Indian campuses of those foreign universities, we will make a lot of saving from our parents, our students. And so that's how on one side there is internationalization. There is a set of campuses coming from abroad. Our campus is going abroad.
The Prime Minister also launched Vidya Pravesh, a 3-month play-based school preparation module for grade 1 students. Sir, if you could elaborate on this.
So this is a very exciting one. Unlike in the past, we used to have children who will come into the class 1 at the age of 6 and immediately they will start reading, writing and also arithmetic. We say 3 R's. And many of them, if the teachers are not very making it interesting class or etc., they will fall out and many of these school dropouts will happen. So this is one module where in the 3 months, the teachers will be intensely interacting with students in variety of ways, in terms of telling them stories, in terms of making them play games, in terms of variety of activities, taking them around in the garden, so that the education or learning is exciting. And this is a 3-month module. At the age of 6, when the students come, whether they come from Anganwadi and nursery, etc., or directly come to school at the age of 6, for the first time to the school, they are going to be enjoying those first 3 months in a manner that they will feel that I must learn. That spirit has to be imbibed.
Sir, there is much emphasis laid on class 10th and 12th examination in the existing education policy. What does NEP envisage with relation to examination of class 10th and 12th? I mean, people are much more concerned about class 10th and 12th. Should the weightage continue as it is, or it would take away some sort of worry or weightage out of class 10th and 12th examination?
First and foremost thing is one should stop worrying about examination itself. Prime Minister in the last 4 years, Pariksha Pe Charcha, I have heard him. One has to be a free learner, One has to have the spirit of trying to understand, trying to learn, try to apply, rather than what marks we get. I think that is where policy transformation is trying to take place. Secondly, there will be examination. Evaluation of the children is required. It's not that everything will be without examination. But examination should be stress-free. Real understanding of the subject has to be tested and then evaluated. And based on that, one can take, your education in maybe law, maybe medicine, maybe engineering, maybe music. And that talent in the individual has to be unearthed, supported, mentored. And that is what the policy talks about.
During today's address, Prime Minister Modi said that Indian Sign Language has been given the status of a subject, and he said it will be a great help to the Divyangjan students. How do you see this announcement?
So this is certainly useful for Divyangjan students because they would be able to learn the subject of their importance. But I think more importantly, even other people who are not Divyangas are also going to learn this as a subject, and that is very important. Today, someone who wanted to become a teacher for such kind of students only were learning. Tomorrow, anyone and everyone who is interested in and understanding this will also be in a position to take this course and use it for credit for the particular program as an elective. That means there are two things which will happen. Any such child who comes across anywhere, many large number of people will be in a position to talk to them, teach them, understand them. So a spirit of one side empathy also develops and one will become useful to these children.
Sir, this national education policy emphasizes much on artificial intelligence. And in today's address, PM also said that AI to be made available in regional language. Sir, if you could elaborate on the importance of artificial intelligence.
Not only AI that is to be made available in regional languages or different state languages, but almost all the subjects, we must provide them in the regional languages. But as far as AI is concerned, this is made part of the curriculum of the school education, and that's why there are multiple things which will require to be happening. One is faculty, means school teachers have to be trained first in AI, and then students also have to pick up from where they are. And there are a huge number of applications of AI today. At a very young age, in their own mother tongue, they learn AI. I'm sure many applications which we would have probably not even imagined will start coming out from not scientists, but our school children scientists. And that is why this AI teaching at the young age is very, very important.
Sir, there is also a provision of Nishtha 2.0. It is aimed for teachers training, and Prime Minister also emphasized on training of teachers. How do you see this component in our education system?
Teacher training has been there for quite some time. For teaching in schools or high school, we are all aware that one has to not only have their own 10th, 12th standard or degree qualification, but also D.Ed or B.Ed. The nature of training of the teachers was in very, very old style. So it needed to be having a great transformation. Students have to feel like going to the teacher. Teachers should become like a magnetic attraction. Must become like for honeybees go towards flowers. Like that, a student should go to the teacher. And that connect has to happen. And therefore, Nishtha will give training to teachers in terms of not only pedagogical aspects, but how do you really try to find out the talent, quality among students, and how do you encourage them. That role has to be played by teacher, and this training certainly will help them in achieving that goal.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much, Ashwini.
India's cumulative COVID vaccination coverage has surpassed 45 crore 55 lakh. Union Health Ministry said nearly 47 lakh vaccine doses have been administered on Thursday. The new phase of universalization of COVID-19 vaccination commenced from the 21st of last month. The ministry said 22,83,000 vaccine doses were administered as first dose and 4,34,000 vaccine doses were given as second dose in the age group of 18 to 44 years.
India said that it is engaged with the US as part of the Quad Vaccine Initiative to supply vaccines to countries in the Indo-Pacific region from early 2022. External Affairs Minister Arindam Bagchi said that both countries' health regulators are engaged with foreign vaccine manufacturers in this regard.
India and the US are engaged as part of the Quad Vaccine Initiative to supply vaccines to countries in the Indo-Pacific region from early 2022, that's next year. India stands united with the United States and several partners in working towards containing the COVID pandemic and for quick global economic recovery.
On the recognition of Covaxin, Mr. Bagchi said that the manufacturer Bharat Biotech has submitted its request along with all necessary documentation earlier in July to the World Health Organization. The Biden-Harris administration released a strategy to address the root causes of migration in Central America on Wednesday. In a statement, the White House said that the strategy is aimed at establishing a fair, orderly and humane immigration system. The five-pillared strategy includes addressing immediate humanitarian needs, including vaccines, countering corruption.
Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken began his visit to Kuwait on Thursday. In a tweet, Mr. Blinken said that he met the Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Nawaf Al Sabah, in Kuwait City and discussed efforts to build on 60 years of close ties between the two countries. He added that Kuwait plays an important role as a mediator and facilitator of cooperation in the region. Secretary Blinken also visited the Kuwait National Assembly. Mr. Blinken also met his Kuwaiti counterpart. He tweeted that it was an opportunity to continue the important work on the distribution of COVID-19 vaccines, mediating regional disputes, increasing education exchanges, and advancing initiatives that will build a more prosperous and secure Middle East. Now let's take a look at the coronavirus updates from around the world. Bangladesh reported the second highest single-day COVID-19 infection in the country on Thursday, even as the government lowered the vaccination age to 25 years in the country. A total of 15,271 new corona-positive cases were detected on Thursday, taking the total number of infected people to over 12.26 lakh. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson urged world leaders to make a transformative investment in children. Speaking at the Global Education Summit in London on Thursday, Mr. Johnson said that the pandemic has devastated children's education around the world, with girls particularly at risk of never returning to school. In a statement, the UK added that the summit will raise funds for the Global Partnership for Education, GPE, which aims to secure at least $5 billion over the next 5 years to get 175 million more children into learning around the world. Meanwhile, Olympics organizers have reported 24 new coronavirus infections linked to the Tokyo Games. It marked the highest daily increase related to the event since July 1st and brings the total number of cases to 193. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
Welcome back to the World News. Moving on to sports, in the Tokyo Olympics, India's campaign got a boost on its seventh day on Thursday when the men's hockey teams, shuttler PV Sindhu and boxer Satish Kumar, stormed into the quarterfinals of their respective games. Ace Indian shuttler PV Sindhu defeated Denmark's Mia Blinkfeldt 21-15, 21-13 in just 41 minutes to cruise into the quarterfinals of women's singles event. Sindhu will now face fourth-seed Japanese Akane Yamaguchi on Friday at 1:15 p.m. Indian Standard Time in the last 8. In men's hockey, India beat defending champions Argentina 3-1 to enter the last 8. They will play host Japan in their final pool match on Friday at 3 p.m. and the women's hockey team will meet Ireland at 8:15 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Indian boxer Satish Kumar defeated Jamaica's Ricardo Brown 4-1 to reach the last 8 in men's super heavyweight plus 91 kilogram category. Satish Kumar has become the third Indian boxer to reach the quarterfinals of the Tokyo Games. In quarterfinals, Satish Kumar will take on B. Jalalov of Uzbekistan on Sunday. However, in the biggest upset of the day, boxer Mary Kom bowed out after losing to Colombia's Ingrid Victoria Valencia via a split decision 2-3 in the pre-quarterfinals bout of women's 49 kg category. In archery, Atanu Das progressed into the pre-quarterfinals after defeating Ho Jin-haek of South Korea 6-5 in men's individual event. In the women's individual event, Deepika Kumari will meet Ksenia Pedova of Russian Olympic Committee in pre-quarterfinals at 6 a.m. on Friday. India's ace shooter Manu Bhaker secured 5th position, while Raisa Nobat secured 18th place in the women's 25-meter pistol precision qualification.
In cricket, India has set a target of 82 runs for Sri Lanka in the third and final T20 international of the three-match series at the R. Premadasa Stadium, Colombo on Thursday. When reports last came in, Sri Lanka were 66 for the loss of 3 wickets in 13 overs.
The 29th of July is celebrated as the International Tiger Day. The day aims to promote a global system for protecting the natural habitats of tigers and to raise public awareness and support for tiger conservation issues. On the occasion, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu expressed happiness that India's tiger population has increased significantly in recent years. Prime Minister Narendra Modi greeted wildlife lovers, especially those who are passionate about tiger conservation. In a series of tweets, Mr. Modi said India is home to over 70% of the tiger population globally. He reiterated India's commitment to ensuring safe habitats for tigers and nurturing tiger-friendly ecosystems. He said that India is home to 51 tiger reserves spread across 18 states. Mr. Modi said that the last tiger census of 2018 showed a rise in the tiger population. The Prime Minister said that India achieved the target of doubling the tiger population 4 years ahead of the schedule of the St. Petersburg Declaration on Tiger Conservation. Mr. Modi said that India's strategy of tiger conservation attaches topmost importance to involving local communities. He added that we are also inspired by our centuries-old ethos of living in harmony with all flora and fauna with whom we share our great planet.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. Washington Post writes that 890 million-year-old fossils may be oldest sign of animal life on Earth, according to Canadian geologist. Sputnik News quotes Russian envoy and writes that Taliban unlikely to gain full control of Afghanistan. Sputnik News also writes that solar winds cause crack in Earth's magnetic field as speeds reach 400 km per second. Financial Times says that Crimea water war opens new front in Russia-Ukraine conflict. The Guardian writes that Israeli authorities inspect NSO group offices after Pegasus revelations. Gulf Times reports that Qatar warns of danger of continuing current situation in occupied Palestinian territories. A quick look at the headlines once again. New Delhi reiterates strong protest with Pakistan on holding elections in Indian territory under Pakistan's illegal occupation. India closely monitoring developments in Afghanistan, says External Affairs Ministry. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken begins visit to Kuwait. Quad partners India and the U.S. engaged to supply vaccines to countries in the Indo-Pacific region from early 2022. Prime Minister Narendra Modi asserts country's commitment to ensure safe habitats for tigers on the occasion of International Tiger Day. In Tokyo Olympic, India's men's hockey team, shuttler PV Sindhu and boxer Satish Kumar storm into quarterfinals of their respective events. Boxer Mary Kom bows out. And in cricket, Sri Lanka chase a target of 82 runs in the third and final T20 international against India in Colombo. India is celebrating the 151st birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Before we end, let us listen to his favorite bhajan Vaishnav Jan by artists from Kuwait.
वैष्णव भजन तो दीने कहिए जे बीध पराई जानी रे वैष्णव भजन तो दीने कहिए जे बीध पराई जानी रे बरदू के उपकार करे तो ये मन अभिमान भजन तो दीने कहिए जे बीत पराई
And with that, we end this bulletin. We will be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.